All right, this is your final option. I was going to say the final solution, but that has negative connotations. Quadratic formula, up to this point, to solve a quadratic equation, we check. Is it in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to something? Can I factorize the left-hand side when I make the right-hand side 0? We also did completing the square today. However, sometimes you're going to encounter a quadratic equation that you cannot factorize the left-hand side at all. For example, this, x squared take 2x take 2. I don't have common factors across all the terms because negative 2 doesn't have an x in it. It doesn't have two square terms with a minus between, so it's not difference between two squares. It's not in this form, so perfect squares won't work. What are the factors that times together to make 2? 1 and? Is there any way I'm going to get negative 2 using 1 and 2? I could get 1. I could get 3. I can't get 2. Okay? Clearly, all our methods of solving so far do not work. So we need one that works all the time. So this is known as quadratic formula. I'm not scrolling down because I know you're gonna freak out and look at this formula and be like, what the hell? But when we step it through, it's gonna be okay, all right? For a quadratic equation, if it's written in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, if I plug those a's and b's into this formula, this will always solve a quadratic equation, even if the number in front of x squared is negative. I haven't given you a way to solve it when it's negative before. So get that quadratic formula down. Let me read it out to you. The quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared, take 4ac all together, and divide all of that by 2a. And just like those discussions I had with some of those people, if you ever end up trying to square root a negative number under here, immediately write no real solutions. You can't solve that yet. So I'll give you plenty of time to get this box. If you ask any of the year 11 and the year 12 methods kids, they jump straight to the quadratic formula, which is fine. But knowing the other methods is important to develop your number skills. So again, the quadratic formula, x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared, take 4ac all together, and then you divide all of that by 2a. So what you're going to have in your test, much like your expansion and factorization test, in your previous test, did you have some questions that told you do it this method, do it that method? And then did you have some questions that say use any method? Same thing here, okay? Your upcoming test is going to have, you need to solve it this way, you need to solve it that way, or I'm just not going to tell you. You decide, all right? Normally, you're going to need to be able to solve with all the methods I've covered, because you're an Ignite class, for your test, if you can't solve using the method that I want, I'll take you solving with this, okay? But I'll take off 1 mark each time, okay? Does that make sense? I will give you credit for getting the right answer using this, but you'll lose a mark for not doing it the way that I ask you to, okay? That's fair because the mainstreamers, if they answer it using this, then they get 4 marks. That's like, so what's the point in learning all the other stuff before? Why? Because they're not going to be doing methods anyway. Or when they choose methods, because they got a false sense of how good they were, they'll drop out anyway. You guys are the ones that are going to go through. You have the ability. You've shown me already, okay? So let us try that. You can see. You'll be able to see why the current year 11 and year 12 methods kids just will go to this. Because it's plug and play. Look here. What is, in this equation here, x squared, take 2x, take 2. What is a? What's the number that's in front of x squared? 1. So I remind myself that a is 1. What is b? What is the number in front of x? -2. What is c? What is the number that's just by itself? Say it louder. -2. You've now decided what these letters mean or what they are. Now I just plug it into the formula. Okay? So x is going to be negative b. Don't trip over negative, but b is already negative. So see what I'm doing here? I'm writing negative on the outside, and then in the brackets I'm going to put -2. So that's me, Mr. T, dealing with a negative b. Plus or minus, square root, do a long square root there. What did you tell me b was again? -2, so it's going to be -2 squared minus 4 lots of a. What did you tell me a was? 1. What did you tell me c was? -2 over 2. What did you tell me a was? 1. So it becomes, what's the best description for it? Didn't every kid grow up with one of those plastic bowls where you put shapes into it? That's this. That's like it looked like a plastic bowl and it had little holes in it with triangles, squares. Then you put them in.
Yeah, I like it.
Depending on how bougie you were. I got like the crappy one from Cash Converters, okay? That's what you did here. You just plugged it into this formula. The formula doesn't change. The A's, B's and C's change. So now, if I've got -2, that's +2, plus or minus the square root of, what's -2 times by itself? Come on. 4. Take, what's -4 times by 1 going to be? -4. Times -4 by -2. +8. Over, what's 2 times by 1? 2. So now we've got 2 plus or minus root 12 over 2. I will, at this year level, this is fun. In the back of your book, it's going to look different. Why? Because they are going to cancel it. What is it going to look like cancelled? Cancelled down. It's going to look like this. 2 plus or minus root. What numbers can you times together to make 12? 4 and 3. Over 2. 2 plus or minus. What is the square root of 4? 2 root 3 over 2. And then because you've got that fraction there, what's 2 divided by 2? 1. And 2 divided by 2, also 1. So you're just going to have root 3 left. So you're freaking out and you're going to be like, oh, am I expected to do this cancelling? No, you're not, because you're not doing 10A right now. But we have the difficulty of your answers look like this in the back of the book, and the answer I've taught you to do is to get that. How is that going to help me? Do what, I was going to say your name. Do what they did. Put this into the calculator, and if it's the same number as this, then you were right. You just didn't cancel it down, okay? I don't mind if you call me over and I'll help you cancel it, but you only need to do it to this extent right now, okay? These two this is exactly the same as that. I'll try to prove it to you. Let me prove it to you and let's see if it stuffs up. So 2 divided by 2, that's going to give you 1. 1 plus or minus root 12 on 2. Okay, let's see. Root 12 is a number divided by 2. Add 1 to it. So we're saying that this should be 2.73. Let's try the other side, the cancelled version in your book. What is root 3? add 1. Is it the same? That's how you could check, okay? I'm not going to rewrite the whole book that took 6 people to do in 2007. I have to use their answers, but I've shown you how to check. Can we do one more, please, of this? Let's do the process. What is A in question B? What is the number in front of x squared? 2. What is the number in front of x? What is the number by itself? -4. Now you've got your little plastic bowl that you're putting little shapes in. Equals negative b. So it's going to be -3 this time. Plus or minus 3 squared. Take 4 lots of a, which is 2, and c, which is -4. All divided by 2 lots of 2. Baby Mr. T, put the little plastic shapes into the little bowl. -3 plus or minus 3 times by 3, 9. Take, what's -4 times by 2? -8. -8 times by -4. Positive 32 over 4. What's that going to be? -3 plus or minus 32, 33, 45, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40, 41. Root 41 and 4. Leave it like that. I don't think 41's cancelable down. So that's the answer you'll probably get in the back of the book. Get the examples down that you need. But that is